Loud.
And I was like, I didn't touch anything. I just posted.
It's all good. Ready, set, go. It was just a hiccup. Take it away, Nora.
Well, good afternoon. Good morning to Katie, who's on the West Coast. And we are so excited. My name is Nora Lynch, and we are the New England leadership team is happy to present Katie Lance, all the way from California via Zoom. And I have to say, this is our second time with Katie. I think it was a couple of years ago that you presented last when we first started Zoom. And the author of Get Social Smart, and also the creator, developer of Get Social Smart Academy, which many of us are on here. I think Joe Scott is also a member, and there are many members of CRSs. In addition to Katie, for the last 5 years, minus maybe 1 or 2 times for the Las Vegas or your Mastermind that I was, I've been an attendee twice. And I do have to say, Katie, as I mentioned to you earlier before we started the call, for CRSs at the Vegas meeting, about 17 people, I think you said were there. There were about 10 of us. And if you look, and I'll repost that actually, there were about 10 of us that were CRSs that attended Katie's Mastermind. It was a 2-day Mastermind, October and November. You can talk more about that, Katie, but we are so delighted to have you here and talking about Chat 2.0. So thank you for being here, Katie.
Oh, thank you, Nora. And thanks everyone for inviting me to be here. Thanks for everyone watching. If you're watching live or if you're watching later on the replay, I'm excited to be here today. We're going to chat all about ChatGPT for real estate 2.0, as Nora said. And yeah, just always appreciate the warm welcome. It's exciting to be here today. For those of you who don't know me, like Nora said, I'm Katie Lance. I'm the founder and CEO of Katie Lance Consulting and the Get Social Smart Academy, author of the book Get Social Smart. And really our passion, we've been in business for more than a decade, which is crazy as I say that out loud. I feel like time flies when you're having fun, but our passion has really been helping agents and brokers get smarter about social media. And these days it's all about AI, ChatGPT, technology, video marketing, all kinds of good stuff. So we're going to spend, the next 20, 30 minutes just sharing some tips, tools, and strategies that hopefully you can implement right away into your business. So I'm going to pull up my screen and hopefully you guys can see my slides. Okay. Awesome. By the way, at the bottom of your screen, I'm at Katie Lance, basically everywhere on social media. So I would love, as you are listening to this, go on to Instagram, Facebook, or wherever you're spending time, give me a follow but message me and say, hey, I was on that webinar this morning with CRS and let me know who you are so I can make sure I connect with you. And as we're going through stuff today, if you hear a nugget, take out your phone, take a picture, tag me, tag each other if you'd like. would love to connect with you guys. So I'm excited to be here today. Okay. So let's get right into it. I know that you already had a training on ChatGPT, so you're probably familiar with a lot of the basics, but I do want to cover a couple quick nuts and bolts. The link to ChatGPT is at the bottom of your screen. So if you don't have a free ChatGPT account yet, the good news is you can still get one. It's absolutely free. And if you go to Google ChatGPT, there's like 10 million options. So this is the one you want to go to, chat.openai.com. You can access it on your computer. There's also an app as well you can use on your phone. I like that the app and the website syncs together. So if you're using it on your computer and then you open it up on your phone when you are, out and about with clients, the information syncs between both apps. And if you've used ChatGPT at all, it's great for things like market reports and, creating marketing for listings. And we're going to give you lots of ideas today. There are, however, some limitations, which I think is important to mention. I always say there's not an app or a tool that can replace you. Right? When it comes to social media and content, especially in 2023, the most important thing you can do is show up, show your face, show us your personality, show us your opinion, show us who you are, because there's kind of a sea of sameness that's out there in real estate marketing, right? You could spend 5 minutes scrolling through Instagram. In fact, this morning I spent 5 minutes scrolling through Instagram, and I'm not kidding. The last 10 out of 20 posts were exactly the same. So now more than ever is an opportunity to stand out, and ChatGPT can help in a big way. If you feel maybe you aren't as confident on camera or you need content ideas, there's lots of great things that you can do with ChatGPT that will help you. I always say it'll get you like 70 or 80% of the way there, but you got to show up and do that last, 20 or 30%. It's also only as good as the information you give it. So if you're using ChatGPT for a listing, you really have to be specific on the listing details, all the nuances of what that listing is all about. Your tone is really important, and we're going to talk more about that in a minute. And just adding in your personality. Typically, what you receive back from ChatGPT, if you're asking for things like maybe you're asking for a video script, or you're asking for TikTok ideas, or you're asking for email marketing ideas, what you're going to get back is typically information that's really professional, but it doesn't always sound like you. So I'm going to give you some tips today on how to make ChatGPT sound a little less robotic and more like you, which is key. Thank you. I love that Nora's dropping the links in the chat. Thank you if you're on Zoom. I appreciate that. So there's lots of things that you can use ChatGPT for. As Nora mentioned, we have Get Social Smart Academy. It's our membership site. We've been running for about 8 or 9 years. We have about 1,000 members. And when we recently, I was asking a lot of our members, like, what are you using ChatGPT for? A lot of them are using them really for these 5 big things. So a lot of our members are using ChatGPT for things like customer service, like chatbots on Facebook or on their website. They're using them for property descriptions, whether you're writing a new property description or maybe you're rewriting a property description. Maybe you've got a listing that another agent had for like 2 months and you need to freshen it up. Market analysis. Right. I think one of the things a lot of people's eyes kind of glaze over about when it comes to numbers. And if you're not a numbers person, myself included, using ChatGPT to put some data in and say, hey, can you help me write a market report that I could send out to my database, or write a market report that I could post to social media? Having some market analysis and how you use ChatGPT in terms of content can help. Automated emails. I know emails are not as exciting as Instagram or social media. But as I always say, and if you've heard me before, I always say social media is rented ground. Write that down if you're taking notes. Social media is rented ground. We do not own it. We have absolutely no guarantees on social media. So as important as it is to have a social media plan, I really recommend you build your database. Our database started with like 20 people, and now we're in the tens of thousands. And it takes an intentional effort day by day, week by week, to build a effective email database, but then also sending people on your list helpful information, not just sending sales emails, but sending helpful information. And if you struggled at all with writing, which I know a lot of agents, to be honest with you, a lot of agents are really great at the business of real estate, but often struggle with the writing part of it, with the marketing part of it, with the copywriting. And that's where ChatGPT can help in a big way. And then of course, content creation. So like I said, I don't think it replaces you, but I think it absolutely can help when it comes to content ideas, scripts, coming up with relevant hashtags, coming up with a relevant call to action on your posts. One thing I think is really important is you start to use ChatGPT. If you've used it at all, what ends up happening with ChatGPT is you have a lot of conversations that are saved on ChatGPT. And especially if you're using it for listings, I really recommend that you take whatever you've created in ChatGPT and like save it somewhere else. Because again, we don't own ChatGPT. There's no guarantees. We could log in tomorrow and it's all gone. So if you're using it for, let's say you're using it for a listing, right? There's some tools on the screen that I really use to help get organized with my content. Some of it's ChatGPT and some of it's just kind of content in general. Dropbox I've used for years. I use this primarily for all my video content. We put out a ton of video content. If you follow us over on YouTube or social media anywhere, we have a lot of video content. But I think it's important to not let that video content just live on YouTube. We don't just let it live on TikTok or Instagram. We save all of our video content into Dropbox. It also makes it easier to communicate with our video editor. It makes it easier to just access our files. And so Dropbox is great. You can also use Google Drive. I know a lot of folks use that. In terms of just getting organized with who's going to do what, if you have an assistant or you're part of a team, there's 3 tools on your site, Trello, Asana, and Monday.com, which are really great to kind of help systemize what you're doing with marketing. And where this comes into play is with ChatGPT. If ChatGPT is now part of your marketing, that needs to be part of your system, right? So let's say you take on a new listing. You probably have a checklist of like, I don't know, let's say 30 things you do with that listing. Well, now maybe there's 10 things that you do with ChatGPT, right? Maybe you go into ChatGPT and ask for a listing description. Maybe you ask for an email to send to your clients. Maybe you ask it to write a blog post, a video script, TikTok ideas, social media posts. Like, you're asking it for a lot of things. If you can take all that content and put that into something as simple as a Google document, right, where you can easily access it and maybe send it to your assistant and go, hey, here's all the copy for the property website, email marketing, et cetera, Now you're kind of taking it out of ChatGPT and having a system and organizing it. So I like to use Google Docs for that. Again, Trello, Asana, and Monday.com are really great. They're more project management tools. If you're a solo agent, they're probably not as important, but it's nice to be able to systemize your business. You know, Nora mentioned she came to our mastermind 2 different times, and in our mastermind, this is a huge thing we talk about. Like, how do you systemize? How do you put out so much video content? How do you put out, you know, all the stuff that you're doing and still running a successful real estate business? You have to have a system, right? Otherwise, it's all going to fall apart, right? Which we all know. So tone is a big, big thing when it comes to what you're asking ChatGPT for, right? And I find that your tone and how you ask for something is almost as important as what you're asking. So I have on the screen like 10 sort of tone ideas, words that you can ask when you are using ChatGPT. So words like compelling, friendly, professional, playful, detailed, informative, conversational, funny, luxurious, thorough. You're not going to use all those words because some of those are contradictory. I recommend that you pick 2 or 3 that you use when you're using ChatGPT. So for example, if I go into ChatGPT and I say something like, create a real estate market report for this particular area, and I'm giving it a bunch of data, I'm going to ask it for something really specific, right? But as part of that, I'm going to say the tone should be friendly, professional, and conversational. And I use that example because for me, that's typically the tone I put in. I will say, please write this in a friendly, professional, conversational tone. Because I find that that's kind of how I come across. Hopefully it's friendly, conversational, and professional, right? If I was using it to write a listing description for a $5 million property, I probably would add in the word luxurious, right? You have to kind of think about, are there a word or 2 or maybe 3 words that describe who you are? And sometimes people have trouble with this. I was just chatting with someone in our academy about this recently, and I recommended to them, I said, ask a trusted colleague or a trusted friend, if they were to describe you in a couple words, what would they say? Friendly, outgoing, introverted, quiet. Like, there's no right or wrong answer. But if you can add that into what you're asking ChatGPT, the output is going to sound more like you, right? It's going to sound a lot more like you. If you've ever used ChatGPT and read it and it was like, doesn't sound that great. Or maybe you've read it and you thought it sounded good. But when you ask for something from ChatGPT, what I highly recommend you do, first of all, you have to read it. You can't just copy and paste, right? We want to make sure we're staying compliant with fair housing and code of ethics, and there's not any biases, which can occur when you're using AI. So whatever you're asking for, you want to make sure you're reading it. But I always recommend read it out loud. And this might sound a little old school. I was speaking at Inman I think it was last week. And I said to somebody, I was like, I actually will create something in ChatGPT, copy and paste it in a Google document, and I actually print it out and read it out loud, which again makes me feel maybe, I don't know, a little old fashioned, but I just find the act of reading something out loud, you will quickly be able to see, oh, that sounds like me, or that does not sound like me, right? So your tone is huge. And I have on the screen here a little screenshot of one of my YouTube videos. We have a ton of training over on our YouTube. It's just youtube.com/Katie Lance. And probably not surprising, a lot of our training most recently is all about ChatGPT. And I have a couple videos that really go deep into this subject. So if that's of interest, feel free to check out our YouTube channel over there. The $1 million question to ask ChatGPT, obviously there's a lot of things you could ask ChatGPT for, but sometimes we don't really know like what to ask or what to say. So a big tip I can give you is this. You can type into ChatGPT, can you do for me A, B, and C? Can you write a article that I want to send to the Boston Globe about the real estate market? I'm just making something up, right? Can you create a comprehensive 2024 social media marketing plan for me? We want to ask, we're not sure what we want, but maybe we ask, can you help me figure out, a Reels and TikTok strategy? So you put into ChatGPT kind of what you're looking for. And what's going to happen is it's going to respond and usually say, yes, and here's what I need from you. Right. And it's going to list it out, right? If you're asking for a listing description and you say, what is the best way to write a listing description, or I need you to help me with my real estate marketing, it's going to say, okay, this is what I need from you. And it's going to laundry list it out, right? It'll say, who's your target? It might ask things like, who's your target audience? What's your desired goal? What's the desired outcome? And it'll give you a list oftentimes of like 5 or 10 things. And sometimes when we see that, we're like, it's going to take too much time. We'll move on to the next thing. I do recommend that you take the time to just answer those questions. Now, you don't have to answer in full sentences. If ChatGPT gives you a list of 10 things, you can go through and just answer and say, 1, give the answer. 2, give the answer. 3, give the answer. And by taking the time to do that, it's going to give you so much of a better output, right? If that makes sense. I want to also share with you a couple of my favorite apps that I love. I always love some good apps. So there's ChatGPT, which is free. One of the cool things about AI, as probably a lot of you have seen, is there's a lot of additional tools, additional plugins. If you use Chrome as your browser, there's 2 great plugins that I absolutely recommend that you check out, and they're free, which we love, right? ChatGPT Writer. This is a really fantastic free plugin for email for Chrome. And the way you use ChatGPT Writer, this is really great for if you need help with any kind of one-to-one emails. So with ChatGPT, you might get ideas for like email campaigns, email newsletters, but this is also a great app. This specific plugin is really great if you need help with some one-to-one communication. Let me give you an example. Let's say you get an email from someone, when you get those emails from people that you're like, oh, you just feel like that pit in your stomach, like it's a tough situation, like they're frustrated or irritated, or there's like some sort of situation you have to deal with, right? There's a fire you have to put out. And we want to be delicate, assertive, confident, empathetic in our response. So this tool is actually really great for that. And what you can do is basically go to the Chrome store. If you've never done this, it's Google Chrome and just Google ChatGPT Writer. You can click on it in Chrome and you can copy and paste your email. I wouldn't do that though, because for confidentiality, I wouldn't do that. What I would do is you can write what the email's about. You can say, I got an email from a client and some of the parameters. We need to do a price reduction. They don't really understand. And I need you to write an email that is confident, empathetic, detailed, thorough. And this particular Chrome plugin is really great for those kind of emails, sort of that one-to-one email where you need to be clear, right, in what you're saying. Again, obviously, don't just copy and paste, read it, double check it, of course. But I really particularly like that for any kind of those delicate emails that we all get, right, that we have to deal with. I also think ChatGPT, and I have another plugin, which I'll share in just a second, but I also want to make sure I touch on this. I know you've probably heard a lot of people talk about ChatGPT for listings, which is great. I also think it's really great for evergreen content. And I know Nora's really familiar with this. This is a topic we teach a lot in our academy and at our mastermind. This idea of creating content that's timeless, content that's valuable, not just today, but it's valuable 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 12 months from now. And if you can start to create your own content library, it is a beautiful thing because now it starts to work for you 24/7, when you're sleeping, when you're on vacation. This is not the type of content that's going to make you go viral, right? You're not going to get like 20 million hits on any of this type of content, but it is really, really valuable. And it's the type of content you could post to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you're spending time. And I have a list of just 5 simple ideas. You don't have to use ChatGPT for this, of course, but here's a few ideas that you could use. So things like 5 biggest mistakes first-time home buyers make when moving to your city. Who pays for what? Tips for getting the biggest bang for your buck. Tips for finding the perfect lender. How to buy a home when you need to sell one, which, by the way, I don't know about your market. I would assuming it's very similar to what we're experiencing in the San Francisco Bay Area. This is a huge topic right now of selling and buying and that whole conversation. So again, using ChatGPT to come up with additional evergreen content ideas. You could go into ChatGPT and say, hi, I'm a real estate agent in Boston, Massachusetts. Can you come up with 10 timeless ideas for videos that I could create that are relevant to buyers and sellers in my area, right? And so using ChatGPT to come up with content ideas, but you can also take it a step further. Once those content ideas are laid out, you might say, okay, great. Can you also come up with some ideas for videos or ideas for Instagram posts? And once you have that content created, for example, if I were to go in and create some of this content, maybe I created 5 quick videos with these ideas, I could then go back into ChatGPT and say, I created 5 videos with these topics. Can you write me a YouTube description for each one of these videos? Can you come up with 5 what do you call it? And I'm thinking of topics like the YouTube title. Thank you. Can you come up with 5 titles? Sorry, Monday morning. Can you come up with 5 titles for these specific videos? Can you come up with 5 social media posts for these specific videos with emojis, with relevant hashtags? So again, there's a lot of different opportunities that we can do, but thinking about your content in general, in terms of, again, those sort of evergreen content ideas, I think are super, super important. Okay, another extension that I want to mention, let me look at our time, make sure we're good. Okay, we got about 9 minutes. Awesome. Another app that I love, this is not really an app, it's a Chrome extension. It's called ChatGPT. ChatGPT. So ChatGPT by itself does have some limitations because the data that ChatGPT goes up to is it ends at like September 2021, right? So where ChatGPT shines for marketing, I really think, is in like writing listing descriptions, coming up with content ideas, coming up with video scripts. But if you're using it for like actual data, we're in 2023, right? We're almost 2024. So I love using ChatGPT. This is a free Chrome plugin. Again, just go to Google. You can type in ChatGPT, Chrome Web Store. It's literally like 2 clicks of a button and it'll add to your Chrome. And what that does is the next time you open up ChatGPT, you can now use ChatGPT with access to the internet. So I find this is really helpful, especially for market reports. You know, when it comes to market reports, you might already be going into, grabbing your own local data and putting that into ChatGPT. But if you use something like ChatGPT, you don't necessarily have to go find your data. You can just go into ChatGPT and say, I'm a realtor in this specific area. Can you write me a market report about some of the most important factors a buyer or seller should consider when moving in the fall of 2024, right? And so what it's going to do is it's going to pull from the internet. It's going to write whatever you're asking it to write, whether it's a market report, an email, social media posts. And what's nice is what will happen is when it comes back to you through ChatGPT, all the sources will be cited. So you can actually click through and go, oh, that was a link from, they got that data from Redfin. Okay, and they got that data from Zillow, and they got that data from Inman. And that's going to be really helpful because each of you probably has a personal opinion about all of those sites and whether or not you want to include that data or not. So I really love it because it's not just giving you data, you're actually able to see where is that data actually coming from, right? And I would recommend, obviously, with anything, you want to read it carefully. I always check the sources. And when you're checking the sources, you want to make sure that that data is accurate, right? You want to make sure that if it's linking to an article from Redfin, that is an article from 2023, not 2019, right? We want to make sure it's as accurate as possible. So again, that's a free plugin, GPT, which again will allow you to access the internet with ChatGPT. A few do's and don'ts that I think are important. I think it's always important to provide clear and specific prompts. Again, the better and more specific you can be with what you're giving ChatGPT, the better your output's going to be. Also, it's great for using, of course, the system for tasks that involve information before that training cutoff, as we mentioned, which is September 2021. And that's where using a tool like ChatGPT can be really effective. Continually monitor and adjust as necessary for best results. There is a paid version of ChatGPT, which some of you might use. I use the paid version. It's $20 a month to use the paid version. And by the way, I'm not affiliated with ChatGPT. I'm not getting any kickback for promoting that. I do think the paid version is worth it in a lot of ways. Obviously, everyone's budget is a little bit different, but the paid version allows you access to some of the beta plugins, which is really, really helpful. It also doesn't crash, which is great. If you've ever used the free version of ChatGPT, especially in the early days, the site was crashing quite a bit. So I find the paid version is worth it, but again, just a personal recommendation. As far as don'ts, I think this is pretty obvious. We don't want to use the system for legal advice or any system where errors could have serious consequences, right? We don't want to use it to help us write contracts or anything in terms of legality. I think that's important. We stay away from. Don't expect the AI to perfectly predict future market trends, as its knowledge is based on data up until 2021. So again, even if you're using ChatGPT, I recommend that if you're going to have ChatGPT write something and you want to talk about future trends, go into ChatGPT and you can say, my future trends for real estate are blah, blah, blah. If you have some thoughts around where you think the market is going, you can add that in and then say, can you write this in a more compelling way? Can you write this in a more interesting way that I could send this in an email, right? Because we all have opinions, we all have thoughts. You putting in your thoughts versus asking ChatGPT to predict the future. I think it's important. And of course, again, this is probably an obvious one, but don't feed it personal or sensitive information as it's unnecessary, right? And we don't want to violate any type of confidentiality, especially with our clients. So if you're sharing anything on social media, I would love if you take a picture and share this, because this I think is so important in this whole conversation of ChatGPT and AI. There's not an app or tool that can replace you, right? I think ChatGPT and any kind of AI tool, whether it's ChatGPT, whether you're using Canva, whether you're using any kind of AI tool, it can help save so much time in your business. It can help you take things, just make things more efficient. It's almost like you've got a little, a virtual assistant, right, for you now. But again, it's not going to replace you. It doesn't replace you showing up on camera. It doesn't replace you sharing your personality. It doesn't replace you double checking for accuracy, which is so key. Context, tone, and your lived experience, right? That's, I think, a huge part of maximizing ChatGPT. So if you're using ChatGPT for social media posts, making sure you're reading it over, making sure you're, oftentimes one of the things I'll do with a post from ChatGPT, if I ask for help with social media content, I'll look at it and then I'll go in and add a story, or I'll add in a personal anecdote. I'll just add in and take it to that next level, right? Because nobody can replace that piece of it. So I know we're getting close to the end here today. I want to open up to any questions anybody has. I have a lot of resources for you as well. I feel like I've barely scratched the surface with ChatGPT. If you are at a place where you can take your phone out and scan this little QR code, this is going to take you to a free ChatGPT cheat sheet that we wrote, where we really give a lot of examples and ideas and tips and tools and strategies. It's going to take you to katylance.com/chatgpt. So that's free. Wanted to share that with all of you today. And then, of course, if you are curious about working with us, there's two big ways that you can work with us. We have our Get Social Smart Academy, which is our membership site where you can sign up monthly or yearly, and you get access to 4 or 5 live trainings each and every month. We have a whole content library with training. We have Canva templates and content calendars, and an amazing private community where our members get access to me and our team. And if you're looking to work with me in person, in real life, we have a couple spots open. We have an amazing Vegas Mastermind happening at the end of the year in November. You can go to katylance.com/Vegas Mastermind. The links are on your screen here to get information. It is an amazing small group mastermind, as Nora mentioned. She's attended a couple times, and it's just an incredible event. Like she said, we've had so many CRS folks attend in the past because you guys understand the value of investing time, in learning. The more you learn, the more you earn. So if that's something you're curious about, feel free to check that out. And I've got my email on the screen. If you would like more information about me, if you would like to schedule a call to see, some of the things that we have available, I'm happy to do that. And I answer all my own email. So you can email me.
I was just going to say that.
katy@katylance.com. So
you don't have AI answering your emails, at least not yet, right?
No, I don't have it, or my DMs. Some people have to have it answer their. It's me. If you DM me and message me anywhere or email me, it's really me.
That's awesome. Oh, Katy, thank you. I had well, the other thing I wanted to mention that I neglected to mention, September 27th and 28th in Connecticut, Mass Association of Realtors, you are one of the head speakers. You made it on the front page of the Facebook post or advertising post for MAR. So we're excited to have you the 27th, 28th. Do you know what day you're going to be presenting?
Good question.
We'll have to we'll look at the schedule. No, don't check. That's okay. But you'll be there. So that's at Mohegan Sun. So
yes,
we're really excited that you're going to be in New England next month. I had a quick question. So interesting. I forgot about that 2021. Does that also on the web chat GPT, is that what you're saying, that if you use that Chrome extension and do web chat GPT, that's going to be newer data for example, market data?
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of I don't want to say a hack, but I guess it's a little bit of a hack too. It basically opens up ChatGPT to the internet. So yes, then you have access to any data, any point in time. It doesn't just limit it to September 2021.
And September 2021 is also for the paid version too, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Marie, it looks like your hand was up. Go ahead.
Yes. Hi, Katy. So great information here that you just provided. You mentioned in the paid version, there's some like beta add-ins. I don't know what types of add-ins are there that would be helpful for us as realtors.
There's a lot of different ones. There's ones that can help with social media. There's ones that can help with email. There's ones that can help with lots of different writing type ones that will help just make your writing even better. They are adding new ones each and every day, honestly. So it's,
You know where we would go to find the list of those? Is it, once you
You
sign up,
know,
then you,
I think you could probably, honestly, you probably could just Google it, like ChatGPT paid plugins. I probably would do that. I know I can see it because I do have a paid membership. I see a cat in there. Christine, I love it. I know, right? Mine's in the other room. If you do have the paid account, if you click on your settings, like if you're looking at ChatGPT in like the lower right-hand corner, there's a little button that says settings, and then one of those will say plugins, and then it'll pop up. But I would imagine if you just Google paid ChatGPT plugins, it's going to give you a list. There's probably 20 or so. And yeah, they're just, they're very specific. It's like they're more specific things. Like if you want to use it for web copy, if you want to improve your website copy, email, like I said, email marketing, blog content, video content. It's, yeah, definitely worth it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Katie. I know you have a 1 o'clock part of your Get Social Smart Academy is the weekly Monday Facebook Live private group that you are on at 1 o'clock Eastern time. So I want to honor your time there and take a break, and I'll see you at the 1 o'clock Facebook Live that you're doing. And anybody, I didn't want to, it looks like we have a smaller group, but I can't wait to see what the demographic, what the counts are going to be for the replays on this one. So it's great. Thanks so much, Katie. And as always, wow, I mean, this is great. I can't wait to get on the that QR code and do
Thank
that. So
you.
thanks a lot. And as always, look forward to seeing you next month in person. And thank you
you.
everybody for being here.
Thanks, everyone. It was an honor to be here. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks a lot.
Thank
Katie.
you.
Bye,
Bye-bye.
everybody.